Hello everyone, my name is Ramba Mamba, and in this episode, we'll learn how to make a health bar for our FPS game for complete beginners. I'm going to start by opening up our FPS project that we've been working on. Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to Kenjo Strife for supporting this video, and also my friend Darren. I will leave a link down in the description to his channel. He makes great videos about his music. He's really passionate about music and art, and his music will be featured in our videos from now on. Also, YouTube told me that 50% of you guys who watch my videos aren't subscribed. If you guys aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot and it doesn't cost anything. Thank you. Okay, so Unity has booted up, and what we're going to do is first lay down all the foundation that we're going to be needing for it. We're going to be making our health bar. So under our UI elements that we already created, under our canvas, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a UI, and I'm going to create an image. And so now we can scroll out and kind of see where it's going to be on our canvas. So I want it to be on the left bottom side. So I'm going to click on the square right here and press Shift and Alt, and then click on the lower left hand side. That way it's positioned right on the left hand side when it scales on devices. So then I'll just move it a little left, move it a little up. Then I'll adjust the size of it by pressing R to move to the scaling tool to find something I like. That kind of looks good to me. That looks perfect to me. So I'll name this background, and I'll actually duplicate this item, and I'll name this one health. So what I'm doing here is that the health is going to sit on top of a background. So when we reduce the health, we can see on the background that it's actually changing. So that might seem confusing, but once we start the game, it'll make a lot more sense. So actually, in order to color our background, I'm going to click on our background, and where it says an image and color, I'll click on the albedo and change the color to red for the background and green for the health. And so this is health, so I'm going to change it to green to a shade that I kind of like. That looks good to me. And then on our background, I'll change it to red, so that when we reduce our health, meaning we change the local scale of it, on the x-axis, you can see our health going down. So I'm going to change that back to where it was. And perfect. So now we can get started. And in our code, basically what we want to do is that we want to reduce the local scale on the x-axis when we lose our health. Like so. Perfect, perfect. So heading into our player, I'm going to add a new script, and I'll call it health. I'm going to drag it into our scripts folder, and then double click on it to open it up in Visual Studios. Okay, so Unity has booted up, and I'm going to make a couple of variables to store the amount of health we have, the max amount of health we have, and also a reference to the health bar so we can edit its local scale. So first I'm going to make something called public float max health, and another public float called current health. Also make a reference to our object, our image. So public transform health. And the reason we want transform rather than game object is we want to change the local scale of it, and that is controlled by the transform. So I'm actually going to remove the void start and the void update functions. because we will not be needing them. And I'm going to make a new function called void refresh health bar. And so we're going to make a ratio of the max health over the current health. So float health ratio, and I'm going to set it to our current health divided by our max health. And then now we just need to set our uh, our UI element to this local scale. But the thing is that we don't want it to be completely static. What I mean by that is that if we reduce by 1 health, I don't want it to go immediately shift over to that 1. Rather, I would like it to kind of slowly drift towards that 1. So it would be smoother action. So I'm going to use a function called lerp. And lerp basically, instead of instantly going from 0 to 1, it'll automatically do 0.1, 0.2, slowly, and go reach -1 or reach 1. So we can do this by taking the health component that we need to edit, do health.localScale is equal to vector3.lerp. And now we need to pass in the original location, which is the local scale that it's at, health.localScale. And then we need to tell it where it needs to move to. So new vector3. We want to move it to the ratio. So we want to change it to our health ratio 1 and 1. And then we also want to multiply this by time.delta time like usual. And I'm also going to multiply this by AF so that it's a little bit faster lerping. Now if we hit save, and if I make a void update function, public void update, we can call this function called refresh health bar. So now if I head back into Unity and fill out all these variables that we made on our player, max health, I'll set that to 100. Current health, I'll set that to 100 as well. And our health, I'll set that to the UI element that we made. So now if we hit play, our health bar is a little bit deformed. And the reason why it is doing that is because we're setting the local scale of our health bar to whatever ratio it is, which is 1, 1, and 1, right? And so that's all fine and all, but we want it to be the exact same as the full health bar and then slowly decrease. So we actually want to change this back to 3.271 or whatever it was. And all these variables, we want the same effect of this kind of rectangle, but we want the scale to be at 1, 1, and 1. So I'm going to set health to 1, 1, and 1, and I'm going to set background to 1, 1, and 1. And then I'm going to change the size of it. I'm actually going to change the size by using the width and the height instead of editing the scale. So I'll set the width to something like that, and I'll lower the height to 75. 75 and 650 is what I will be going with, and I'll set both of them to that. So now if we hit play, we should see a full health bar. Perfect. So now basically all we want to do is kind of reduce our health as we go. So if I go back into Unity, in our void update function, let's create a new function. Let's create a So I'm going to make a new function called void take damage, and we're going to be needing to know how much damage to deal. So I'm going to take in the variables integer damage. Then basically we want to take our health, our current health, and we want to subtract away how much damage we did. So current health is equal to current health minus damage. And remember, this minus equal is a short way of saying current health is equal to current health minus damage. So now we subtract it, and if our current health is less than 0, less than equal to 0 actually, then we can play our dying animation. And we can do that later, but for now that's perfect. And in void update, we can call this function. Just to test it, we can do if input dot get key down key code dot p, or any letter for now, take damage, and I'll say 50, or actually I'll do 20. Perfect. So now if we press P, we'll be taking damage to ourselves, and this will be a perfect way to test our health bar. So now if I hit play, there you go. You can see that my health bar went down as I pressed P. Perfect. That is perfect. And now at this point, because we're at a negative number, we would want to die. But that's for another episode. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to save your project and also save your FPS game. Thank you.